All over the place. He was in Holtzville, up in the Imperial Valley. He eventually settled in Carson and bought some property in Carson and farmed the land. As time went by, he met a woman in the field, and he ended up marrying her. Grandpa Diaz. He's messing around with the health. That's what I always said. So the main thing is that he married, was happy at the time. He had 5 kids. I don't mean that disrespectfully. He had 5 kids, and you know, like Mary used to say, when the 2 girls were born, they lived on the farm. All I hear is these great stories about how the farm was. Just a free life, running up and down the field, riding on the tractor. Like Mary always said, I was the first boy. So she would run around and have a good time. As time went on, he sold the farm, settled down, always was at the racetrack. You know, that was something he really liked to do, is going to the racetrack. Man, I used to get the paper in the morning and I'd look at it and he'd have these little names in there. And I'd go, God damn, how can he write so small? And I'd look for that name in the race form and I couldn't figure out where that name come from. So one day I wrote on a piece of paper and asked him, what the hell does this name mean? Oh, that's the jockey. And I go, the jockey? How the hell you know what the jockey is, you know? So that was something he did all the time. He lived here for a long time. He lived here 30 years. I knew him longer than I knew my own father. One time I was coming back from the track with him, and he says to me, oh, you know, I don't know why God keeps me around. You know, all my friends are dead. And I look at him and I think to myself, man, you're the luckiest guy in the world, man. You get to watch your grandkids grow up, your daughters grow up, you watch your kids be successful. I go, my dad never had that opportunity, and all he ever wanted to do was watch his grandkid grow up. He didn't get that opportunity. I always thought Mr. Diaz was the luckiest guy in the world. You know, he always went to the track. He was a very fiercely independent man. I mean, he didn't talk a lot, but I mean, you know, you never really knew what was going on in his head. But, you know, I didn't really understand how he was or how intelligent the man was until I read a bunch of letters that he had sent from the Philippines when he went to the Philippines in '79. And I thought, God, this guy really is a lot smarter than I thought he was. You know? But he was. He was a pretty intelligent guy. I mean, he was a very successful man before he, you know, settled down into the life he was having. He moved here. You know, a lot of people will ask me, man, you got an in-law living with you? But, you know, really, he really wasn't any problem. I mean, he was so independent, and he loved just going to the track and stuff. But, you know, he was pretty cheap. So I'll just give you a little sample. This is a Filipino back scratcher. You cannot buy this at the market. Right? He also had another thing. He had I thought he should have marketed it. It was a magnifying glass with a pen on it. And I thought, son of a gun, that's pretty inventive. But, you know, we didn't think much about it until when he passed away. You know, I mean, I looked at him and I thought, wow. I told Tina one time that I interrupted him in the bathroom and he was using the toilet bowl brush to clean his back. And she thought, oh my God, I hope he's not doing that. And, no, I'm just teasing you. He's not really doing that.
Tell about the knife, Mike.
Oh, the knife. Oh, yeah. I had this really nice dicing knife, you know, cutting up. One day I come home, I take it out to cut up something, and the blade is all bent to shit. And I said, what the hell happened to this knife? Oh, my dad took the knife and he went out to cut the branch off the tree. So that's probably the first time I ever really got mad at him. I took him outside and I took him in the garage and said, this is a saw. This is not a machete. You know, it cut the branch real good. So, you know, I mean, I got lots of stories of him, you know. Sometimes he would escape and go to get a barber, take him to get a haircut. You know, and, you know, when John kind of reappeared back into life, we told him, I go, you need a haircut. He goes, I want one like that, like John. So Mikey got to get in the backyard, or Mikey gave him a haircut one day, and I come home and he's all bald, and then Mikey's sitting out in the front yard, and Grandpa went out and gave him $10. I'll tell you what, that's the most he ever paid for a haircut. Because he probably still thought they were like a quarter.
Tell him about the Mustang.
Oh, the Mustang. Oh, this is another story. So one night we hear this noise, this horrendous noise out front. And
That's the best story ever.
I go, what the hell is that? And all of a sudden it just stops, you know. So I'm in bed. I'm not getting up to go look at it. And the next morning I get out and I go look at his Mustang, and the rim is square. He had a flat tire. He drove all the way home from the track with that flat tire. I don't hit too good. I did not hit it. So, but yeah, I mean, I got a million stories about that.
Talk about how he hammered it out the next morning.
Yeah, then he's going to hammer it out. No, you got to put another tire on it. That's not going to work.
He was trying.
Yeah. So, you know, he...
You got to tell him when he's talking about the dunga.
Yeah, yeah, that's all you could hear. That loud-ass noise coming down the street. But, you know, somebody accused me of taking his car away. But really, his car, when we got back from Hawaii one time, he was out there with his John Travolta shoes on. And he was, you know, running in front of the thing, and we're all kind of sitting there going, we got to go back to work, you know, and all that stuff. And he kept running in front of the thing. You hear that clicking with the John Travolta shoes, and then all of a sudden I noticed his car's on fire. But that's when he burnt up the Mustang. But really, you know, he really needed his license taken away probably 5 years before that, because he really drove like Mr. Magoo. You know, he didn't pay attention to anything. He was really thin. But you know, the one thing I really enjoyed, you know, taking care of him. I mean, you know, as he got older in his life, you know, he, you know, I'd get up in the morning and I'd make him breakfast and take him breakfast. And I've experienced death before. I lost my brother, I lost my mother, and I lost my father at a very young age, my brother at a very young age, and my mother, God bless her. But, you know, I really was more sad when Mr. Diaz died. It really bugged me. I guess it's because he lived here so long. And, you know, it's just part of the house. All of a sudden the house felt very empty. And I mean, you know, where could you get a better life than what he had? He lived 100 years. He was so darn healthy. That's why I'm working a lot, because I know I'm going to die long before my wife, and she's going to need a little money to hold her over. So don't none of you guys come around here. Especially you, Steve Barrero, wherever you are. So he was a wonderful man, very quiet, but you know, I had a lot of fun with him when I was retired for about 5 months. I always used to give him this, and he would do it right back, because he was probably the only guy I could kick his ass. So, you know, but he was a good guy. His family is taking it pretty hard. It's the first time they've ever experienced death, and they'll get better. I mean, as time goes on, they'll just remember all the good things. But you know, that's about all I got to say.
Oh, Mike.